All right, welcome to Full-Time Freedom Week. It's the end of day 2, and look at all these beautiful faces that we have joining us today on our live stream. We're coming to you live on YouTube, so if you guys are logging in and you're trying to get started and figure out what's going on, this is the time to be able to ask questions because everyone is here right now. So drop your information in the comments and we'll start getting into it. But first, let's kind of go around the room here and let's introduce everybody. Let's start with Technomadian, the Mobile Internet Resource Center. Go ahead, guys.
Hey there.
It's great to be here.
I'm Sheree.
I'm Chris.
And we run the Mobile Internet Resource Center. Gave a presentation today on mobile internet for an RV adventure. And we're here happy to answer any follow-up questions anyone might have on mobile internet topics.
Yeah. Just out this past week testing Starlink in various locations on our van. So having fun with all the latest tech.
That's cool. I want to hear more about that. All right. And remote work has been a hot topic. And Natasha from Nursing Our Travel Bug. Nursing Our Travel Bug. There you go.
Yes, hello. I actually just got off work in time to do this live stream. But yes, I am a registered nurse and I've done travel nursing, and now I do remote work from my home. Here's my workstation right behind me. So I'm excited to be here and answer any questions that folks may have about travel nursing or about working remotely from home.
Okay, that's fantastic. And now we have Dawn from the Dawn Chronicles. Dawn.
Hey everybody, my name's Dawn Campbell. Great to meet you all. I did a talk this morning about solo travel and it's my first year. So all of the ups and downs and the surviving and thriving, all the interesting things that happen your first year out on the road. So thanks for having me, Stuart, and look forward to meeting everyone.
Yeah, and there's always something interesting that happens all the time, on the road that we just never know about.
Yep.
And you've really experienced it all. So that's a lot of fun. And then over here we have from, where's that button go? Hey, where'd they go? We just lost them again. This was a problem that we were having earlier. Hold on one second. The Wanderpreneurs are all about Baja. They just got themselves right back from Baja, and they did a great live session right here on YouTube talking about everything you need to do to spend time over there, from your paperwork to your pricing to finding your campsites, your boondocking sites, and all that, all the papers. And we just lost them again. So they need to get with you guys over there at the Mobile Internet Resource Center for some tips on, getting their internet gear up to date. So
Starlink is working through most of Baja now. They've actually just turned on another chunk of it. So all but furthest south Baja, as long as you can avoid the trees, you can get some Starlink right now.
Yeah. So let's kind of go over that. Since we're talking about that, you were just doing this new test of some stuff. So why don't you kind of talk about that for a second?
Yeah, so we just released a full guide and video on the Mobile Internet Resource Center channel about Starlink and how to get it as an RVer now, because it's gotten without the long wait. It's gotten a lot easier, but they've enabled service portability in the last month or so, and that allows you to take Starlink with you. It's not authorized for use in motion, but it is great to be able to set it up at a new camp location and just have it work without having to find an open cell anymore, which used to be the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, this has also been called Starlink Roaming and stuff, and it is still not officially announced or supported. It is deep down in the terms of service. It is clearly something SpaceX is working on, but it is not official. But for the past month, it's been turned on from just a few testers to now, as best we can tell, everybody in the United States has service portability enabled, and if you take your Starlink and you just set it up someplace else, it will connect, which is a game changer for RVers.
So we just at the beginning of this month, we took about a 1 week cruise up and down the river that we're on in Sanford here. We're currently on our boat, and then once we got back, we were able to keep connected about 60 miles away, no problem. And then we took it in our van, which we keep here at the marina, and we went out to some state parks. We went to the Sun and Fun Fly-In, and Starlink worked great, but we did have trees and obstacles and had some dropouts.
Yeah, so we tested and showed in our video. We talked about some of those implications of, like, it needs a big view of the sky, particularly if you want a steady video for doing broadcasts like this. Without
we are broadcasting over Starlink.
Yeah, we are broadcasting over Starlink right now, bonded with a cellular connection, so that when there are little Starlink dropouts, like there's a sailboat cruising past us right now, and as its mast cuts across in front of the satellite, the Starlink might have a little hiccup, but the cellular is combined with that and should minimize or eliminate any little drops. So combining cellular and Starlink together is really the way to go.
Cool. Is Starlink going to have those problems since it's becoming more and more common where people can move, where it's going to get some of that lagging stuff? Like if a lot of people move into a cell area and it just gets bombarded, are we going to start to see that with Starlink too?
So yes, congestion, just like we're all used to, like if we go to Quartzsite during January and all the cell towers get bogged down, we get really slow speeds. Starlink's going to be similar. So each satellite that's passing overhead can only serve so many people at once who are online. And yeah, as RVers meet in big clumps and are bringing Starlink with them, we'll probably start to see some slower speeds.
And that's what we see in the terms of service, the fine print for the service portability feature, the unofficial feature that hasn't been officially rolled out yet. It says that when you're away from your home service address, so when you're not at your home address, you get only best effort service. So you'll probably be at a lower priority than people who are at home, so that travelers don't take capacity away from people who are local residents.
So updating the address is still important then when you're traveling.
It could be, yeah.
If you're going to be someplace long term, like if you're settling down for a season, you're probably going to want to try to seek out and change your service address to where you are so you get the priority service. Because Starlink even has in terms of service that if you are in one location for a long time, they reserve the right to change that address for you. And they even said there's even already, I've noticed wording in the terms of service, they can even change your invoicing. So it'll remains to be seen exactly how they work out this service portability and roaming feature. And we do know Starlink is working on an official mobile antenna and service. And once that officially is rolled out, and no indication when that might be, it's going to be really interesting to see how things change. It could be different pricing, could be different terms of service. It's just a lot of unknowns. This is all developing.
That's why we wrote the guide to be updated basically,
daily.
I think we've been updating it a couple times a week as we just get new Starlink details or new tricks and stuff. So the mobileinternetinfo.com/Starlink is just evolving constantly.
Yeah. For those of you just joining on the live stream, if you have questions, you have comments, just drop them below and we'll make sure that everybody on today's panels gets a chance to answer them or contribute. Natasha, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
What have you been up to since, and what's new with you? What's going on in your world?
Just traveling more. We actually spent a month long in Madison, Florida, doing a full-time families rally there. And it's funny, internet is huge for me for work. I work Monday through Friday, kind of an 8 to 4:30 job. And I have several different internet options to choose from. We've been thinking about Starlink, but Starlink was kind of hit or miss at that campground, and the AT&T Nighthawk that I have actually worked out better. But now we have moved like 12 hours north. So that's why I have the sweatshirt on. I had to put my shorts away, my short sleeve shirts, and put on some warmer attire for the cooler weather up here. But yeah, just enjoying a new scene out my window while I work.
That's great. And then Don, you so far for the day have the most watched video of the day so far. But you also were the first one to present today, so you also have a little bit of a head start. But so we actually, as we kind of get into what you're doing, we do have a question that just came in for you. And it is, Don, you talk a lot about community. Can you share a little about the balance of working and meeting people?
Oh, that's a great question. I think as a solo traveler, I think it's different because, you are by yourself. So it's important to find community, both with friends that you can travel with, as well as meeting people on the road. Obviously, having to work through the day. Well, the best part about, I'd say, the work that I'm doing right now is having flexibility for hours. So sometimes I could hike with someone in the day that I've met and then work in the evening. I have that flexibility within my schedule. So that's made a really big difference to building community. But it's the community and meeting people, not just RV community, and that's important to me too, but just meeting people out and about in the world and learning about these different communities that has made this adventure so exciting, like for me. So it definitely, balance is just, balance is just, I think, I'd love to have more fun and work less, but I do have to make a point to balance my time, for sure.
And where are you at right now?
So right now I'm just north of the fires in Prescott, Arizona. So I know some people have noticed that there's fires going on. There's a wildfire that's at 600 acres. It's about 30 miles from here. So some people have been evacuated. Some of our actual fellow escapers have been evacuated up to this area out of Prescott, and now they're coming to Prescott Valley. So keeping an eye on it. You can see the fire from here. You can see the smoke, at least, not the fire, but the smoke. And I ran into some escapers Easter weekend, this past weekend, and we actually took a Jeep trip exactly where the fire is right now. So we were Jeeping on Sunday, and that fire started sometime like Sunday evening, right after we left. So it's just crazy that we had just been through there, and those people are now getting evacuated. So
well,
it's just
we'll
wild.
assume it was a coincidence.
Yeah, it's not me. Yeah, it's not me. I'm RVing nowhere near there, but we did Jeep through that area. It's really neat. It's really neat area.
You know, Chris and
there's the
Sheree.
cat.
Yeah, there's a cat. This is live again. Chris and Sheree. So, how would Starlink be affected by smoke, or will it be? Like if you were out there and you're kind of out boondocking or something, and there's smoke overhead, is it affected different than like clouds or other weather?
Smoke and clouds aren't really an issue, but heavy rain or heavy snow can be. We've actually seen, when a torrential downpour has come through here, we've seen Starlink cut out. So that is another place where you might want to rely on a backup connection, is when there's really heavy weather.
And apparently, if you allow too many cats to lay on your Starlink dish, that's a problem.
The Starlink dish does have a built-in feature that melts snow. It gets warm when it detects that it's too cold. It will melt snow and ice. But there are pictures. Cats find this and see it and climb on top of the Starlink and start hanging on that, and the cats block the signal.
I thought you were being funny, but now it makes sense because I remember that whole snow.
It's true.
And because all these people shared photos of cats on their Starlinks for April Fools, April 1st, the Starlink app actually changed the button that tilts your Starlink up and down to kind of shake it to normally for storage. They changed the button to say remove cats.
You know what? I actually saw that and I didn't know what it meant.
That was real.
Now you have an insider thing just 3 weeks later.
I saw that. I was like, I don't get what this means, but I'm trying to pack up and get out of there, so I didn't really give it much thought. But I was like, I do remember seeing that now. So Don, going back to like some of the stuff that you talked about, the work-life balance and all this other kinds of stuff. Have you developed different patterns over the years that you've been traveling? Like, did you start out doing it one way, and then kind of as you were traveling, you kind of adapted and evolved into working and kind of creating a balance in a different way?
Okay, well, let me just be clear. I'm a hot mess. I am not who to learn from in terms of balance. Like, not my strong suit. Like, I don't think my ADHD even likes the word balance or really wants me to ever think about those things. I try to, okay? It doesn't come naturally. I'm not organized naturally. I'm clean because I'm kind of a neat freak, but I'm not organized that way. So I do have to make a point. It definitely has evolved. I started my own consulting business this year called Living Proof Consulting. And that itself has evolved. It started with a very specific, I thought exactly what I thought my business would be like. And that's evolved as well. Actually starting with a new client that's a travel product. I have a brand opportunity that I got through TikTok. These aren't things I ever thought. And those are things that happen, creating content or doing things on the weekends or at night. It definitely has changed how I work, what I'm talking about, the customers that I'm working with. So I'm not an 8 to 4:30 strict schedule. I never have been, but now I'm really not. Now it's kind of all over the place. So, but it's definitely been fun, and I've enjoyed having it be part of an evolution of what I'm doing. So it works with my chaotic personality, as you know.
And I can say, after we've been on the road now 16 years, working remotely the entire time, this balance thing, it's a misnomer. It just doesn't happen.
I don't know what that is.
If anyone perfects it, please let me know. Tell me what the secret formula is, because we haven't found it.
Well, fortunately,
no, it's so hard, especially with kids. So I work, Monday through Friday. I'm 8 to 4:30, and at the end of the day, I want to just like zone out, but I can't because I've seen my family, but I haven't interacted with them all day. So, you want to give time to the family, and then you're in a new place. So you want to see what's happening there too. So most of the time we do our sightseeing on the weekends because a lot of places are closed in the evening, or like in the winter, it's too dark. So then I don't have like my day to just like be lazy and be a vegetable or like catch up on things, because you're working, and then you're working at home, and then you're sightseeing, or then it's a travel day, and then you're meeting people, and it's balance is hard, I think, just in regular life. But I think it's more challenging when you travel, because then you have more factors to work into your schedule with the sightseeing and the travel.
Then you toss in your own business and trying to grow it. I mean, that's there's a lot of big struggles all in one that we're all trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Now, Natasha, you're really the only person like with a medical background, like so like you're a nurse, right? When we talk about all that stress when we're trying to go through this, and I know like I'm just like we all talked about, trying to find balance, trying to get our real work done, trying to have some fun at the same time, and then all of a sudden, something in the rig breaks, or something that happens that just adds to this other level of stress. What would you say as a medical professional, ways that we can kind of just time out and reprioritize or refresh or hit that reset button? Because I know how I used to do it in a sticks and bricks, but it's harder to do it when you're on the road and you're in such a small space, and sometimes time and space and alone time is hard to find.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like anything in life. Like, you're going to have stress, whether it's at work or it's at home or it's, with the RV, or things are breaking. Like, it doesn't matter your lifestyle, you have stress. And it's really about how you manage that stress. So, I like to unwind at the end of the day, maybe with like a glass of wine or read a book. Some people enjoy exercising. And I know when you travel, it's hard to, stay up on a gym, or to have a gym membership that travels. But, even going outside, going for a walk, going for a run, things like that help. And certainly like the basics, like get enough sleep, get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, drink plenty of water, 6 to 8 glasses every day, eat a well-balanced diet. Those type of really basic things help with your general overall health. And then that just helps with your stress. And then that just makes RVing more enjoyable.
Don't forget to drink that water after having all that wine. That's what I need to remind myself of every once in a while. Dawn knows that. Exactly. This entire thing, for everyone watching, if you have comments from any of our panelists from today, drop them in. That's why they're here, is to be able to answer questions maybe that you had that they didn't cover or want a little more in depth. So get in there, drop the comments in. We've got another 10 minutes or so. But if nobody comes in, what do you guys want to talk about? What else is new that you want to share that you may have wished that you did before that you didn't get a chance to and you were thinking about it later? Anyone have anything before I come up with another list of questions?
I'll ask a question to see if you guys, since everyone here seems much more experienced than I am. So, and I'm sorry that it's so windy, but I had to let some fresh air in, and it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds at the top of a mountain today. So I'm sorry if it's so loud, but here's my question. So for people who are new, like I use a lot of the apps, Compendium, Free Roam, freecampsites.net. I have a Harvest Host. My biggest thing is like travel planning. Like, for instance, when I leave here, I know I'm going to Sedona. I want to go to the Grand Canyon, and then I want to head over to Utah, like cut through Vegas and head over. A lot of people are telling me like roads that aren't safe to drive, like with my Class C, and not just, I have RV Life, the app, but it's like the planning of it. Like, I think that's my biggest struggle is, and it's probably because it's the thing I'm not, as I mentioned, I'm not super organized. So I'm just not a great RV planner. So I'd love to hear from you guys how you make your plans for going to different places and sightseeing and working and balancing, not the balance part, but I also have to do some hours of work. So I can't be somewhere so remote. I don't have Starlink yet. So I can't be somewhere so remote that there's no cell service and no accessibility to get on the internet. So I also don't go super remote, because some places you go and you're like, there's 0 bars to make a phone call. I can't do that. And I don't think there's anything they can really fix that. So I struggle with that part of it. So I'd love to hear any tips that you guys have from the other panelists that are more experienced.
Anyone want to take that one?
Gosh, I mean, we pretty much wing it, honestly. We maybe when we're in the RV mode, we look ahead about a week of where we want to go. We try to minimize the number of fixed commitments to the calendar in every year. So, I'm sorry, you're getting married. I'm not going to be there. We don't try to plan around going to everyone's, birthdays and weddings and graduations. We minimize our commitments to going to events. We're asked all the time to speak at events, and it's just
only little select things. But as far as like doing the specifics of like planning that week out and stuff, over the past year, I've started to use RV Trip Wizard, which I found to be a really good tool because it lets you kind of put together a multi-stage stop and make edits, reorder stops or change things and adjust your routing and stuff very easily on the fly.
And we found for our own pace, when we're in kind of active travel mode, we can do about 2 or 3 days of travel days, and we prefer to not travel more than 2 or 3 hours a day, but sometimes you have to do more. But then we just need to be stopped for 2 or 3 days minimum, just to catch up on life, to work, to actually get out and see things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we just, after now so many years, we just really, really appreciate being in one spot for 2 or 3 months at a time and having time to just
really get to know the local area,
to get to know people, let the social come to us. We love to find places where people are stopping in to visit us instead of us constantly trying to find where people are. And then just, really immersing ourselves in a local environment and getting to know it. But our first 3 or 4 years on the road, we were moving almost daily, and it was stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. I'm actually right in the middle.
Winging it.
Oh, go ahead, Don.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, so I've been winging it since I started, and some days I'm like, I don't know how I've made it this far. Just winging it, no clue what I'm doing. Didn't even know how to drive the RV when I first started, and had a couple fender benders. Like I had some stuff happen. Like I got myself into some little chaos at the beginning there, and then I'm like, I don't know where I'm staying. I feel like I'm always at something, and I'm like, I feel like having some level for planning has to be. So I do have the RV Life app, which has RV Trip Wizard. I do need to figure out how to use that because I think that it sounds like you guys have tried it and it's worked for you. So yeah, I'll check it out.
And Harvest Host has been phenomenal for being able to do like these, especially since they have the online booking now. It's like so often it's like, I'm just striking out, finding open availability at the places I want to be. We're really picky. We will not put up with a sucky night. For us, we need to be out we don't like neighbors. We like to have space around us. We're all set to boondock.
We don't need power hookups if we don't need them.
So, Harvest Host has just been a great way to fill in the stops that we're able to get at the places we prefer.
Yeah, they made a big difference for me, especially on the East Coast. There's more boondocking out here in the West. I'm out West. I live on the East Coast. So I harvest hosts probably every couple days. I've done all the wineries through Ohio. I did tons of boondocking in North Carolina. I loved it. Out here, there's a lot less harvest hosts where I am now, but there's so much boondocking that it's okay. But I love that app too. So that's been very helpful.
And one other app.
So now we do a little differently. In the beginning, we were stuck to a location for 3 months at a time. So there would be a mad scramble to find an RV park. Then when we were booked, we were good. And we would just take our time and leisurely go find things to do. But now that I'm working remotely, we can go and see more of the country more frequently. So we're moving about every 2 or 3 weeks. And we've primarily been using Thousand Trails because we did buy into that membership. So my husband is really great. He is actually the one that will book all of the campgrounds, and we just have kind of a loose idea of where we want to go. But again, we're not sticklers for I have to be in the city at that time, because it just doesn't work in RV life. You have to learn to pivot. Things come up. But since I need the internet connectivity, we will look at a campground, and then we'll also hop over to our service provider map and make sure we have service in that area before we book it. And if we don't have service, we won't stay at that campground.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
when you guys were talking about moving every night, I'm kind of in the middle of that right now. And I just, like today, I was like, you know what, I can't do this. This is starting to really get to me. I left on Sunday night from New Orleans, and I've done 5 hours for the last 3 days in a row, just one night, one night, one night. And it's been Harvest Host where I've been, organizing and meeting other people on the road. So it's been long nights out of Harvest Host, getting up early. And 5 hours on the road is really not 5 hours on the road. It's like 6. Because you got to stop for gas, or you got to, stop over and make some lunch, and all that. And it just it does start to take a toll. So I actually made some adjustments from my schedule. They were supposed to have one more night. I was like, no, we're not. I'm going to drive 2 hours tomorrow, and we're staying for a couple days, and we're going to take something off the schedule to meet our hard deadline on next Saturday, because I can't keep going this on and on. It does get tiring, and
Yes, it does.
and I'm looking forward to, not this week, but the week after. I've booked like 10 days of just nothingness, at a park on a lake. So I'm like, I just need to detox from, all this crazy, because it does kind of get to you, and it does add up. So, but when I do that, yeah, Harvest Host has been great though, just like what you were saying, and they're a sponsor as well. So it's nice to hear not just, Harvest Host being a sponsor and promoting what they do, but actually how people are using it, in real life as well. So. What else? Anything else you want to talk about before we kind of wrap up here? I know we all still have jobs and commitments that we got to get to. Anything else from anyone? No? So tomorrow on Full-Time Freedom Week, we're kicking off the day at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We talk about community, and JP Smith is a former Escapers Convergence Director. He's got a great session about using events and gatherings on ways to be able to meet people. We talk about RV parks and why those aren't really conducive to building community and meeting people. And he's got a couple other things he's going to be announcing during his seminar tomorrow, which is going to be really exciting. And then we also have the roadpreneur, Kimberly Crossland, who's going to be talking about how to start a business from the road. And then at 11 o'clock Pacific time is the part one, or first session of our RV newbie panel. These are all people who just started full timing in the last 3 months. And so we kind of went through with this group about realities versus expectations, and, just kind of some really neat things. This is more for everyone watching that wants to know what's going on. And then the Adventure Detour does a great thing about what to do when S hits the fan. It's all about preparation and some things that you need to kind of do so that way you're ready for that. And then we also have tomorrow how to some RV tips and tricks on maintenance and stuff, and kind of covering all that. So that's what's coming up on tomorrow's schedule. But back to today and tonight, you guys think of anything else you want to talk about before we sign off here? And last call for comments from anyone that might be watching.
I'm going to have some wine.
Ooh, can I join you? I've been hydrating.
Call me.
And so am I. There's a restaurant over here that I'm going to be going to, and Tuesday nights it's half off bottles night. So,
ooh, it's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, it's half off bottles night down here in Texas. So that'll be nice.
All right. Well, nice to meet you guys, and Stuart, thank you.
Yes, thank you guys for joining, and we will. Yeah, indeed. Thank you guys again for all your support of Full-Time Freedom Week, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. And for everyone else, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you guys.
Bye. Bye.